Welcome to the Intune Training Show, the place to learn how to use Microsoft Intune, the Certificates Edition. Again,
certs.
Exactly.
Everybody loves certs, right?
And they will by the end of this series. So again, I don't think this. Yeah. I don't think we need to, but introductions. You are
Steve.
I am Intern.
Jamie.
Jamie. I don't think I'm Jamie. Anyone that thinks my name is Jamie, please leave comments in the description below. All right. So last week we did a very short and simple video on how to get those SCEP certificates that we spent a while getting ready to deploy out to our iOS devices. So this week's video is going to seem like Groundhog Day to anyone that's sort of religiously following this stuff. And that's kind of because it is. The important thing that I really want to point out, and that Steve and I spoke about off the record while we weren't recording off the air, was that the hardest part of all of this stuff is getting the infrastructure configured. But if you follow the guides, it's it's tricky, but it's not that tricky. But then everything else is actually really simple. So we're going to go through this. Again, it's very similar to last week, so
it's a little bit repetitive.
But I think
put it this way, right? It's better to be repetitive for 4 different device types, than have to go to each device manually and do it that way, because it's really painful.
Exactly. I think it's good that it is standardized. So anyway, without further ado, we'll jump in and we'll just create these things.
Let's do this.
All right, cool. So I'm going to do this, and you can tell me whether I do anything wrong. So I'm going to go into, so I'm in the endpoint portal.
Yep.
I'm going to go into devices, and I'm going to select macOS. We don't need to do this, but this just helps us filter the devices.
Correct.
Okay, we're going to go into configuration profiles. The first thing we're going to do, like we did before, is we need to create that root certificate or trusted profile, because we need to use that when we create the SCEP profile.
Correct.
So we're going to go into templates.
Yes, that's correct. So this is where your settings catalog now exists for macOS.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's actually really cool, and it's going off and creating dynamic P lists for those Mac nerds that are out there.
Awesome. So we're creating trusted certificate because that is our trusted certificate.
Correct.
We're going to go Mac OS.
Lowercase m.
Okay.
Capital S.
What is it? Root certificate. Policy. Yeah. Okay. I'll just do it that way then. Padlock. Thank you. I love it. All right.
Got to get the emojis in there when we can.
It's important. It's important.
And this is the same root certificate we used previously. No groups, no scope tags. And we're going to select the same group, which is that sec GRP.
Nice. So you've got your Mac and iOS devices in this group, yeah?
So my user accounts.
Oh, okay. So we're targeting user and then sort of filtering out to devices. Okay, great.
So it's super important when you're doing certificates and then linking them to Wi-Fi profile, link them to the same group. Because then you've got a consistent plane. You don't have to worry about is some to device, some to users. Just have it all to that one group for the whole scenario. Otherwise, it can get confusing.
Yeah, and it's important to point out that, and we talked about a little about this in the last video, that we're focusing specifically on deploying this to the user object and then it hits the device. So if you're doing it the other way around and you're deploying this to device, just do what we're doing, but like when you assign the trusted certificate, deploy that to device as well. So like keep that standard experience for all of your deployments, and you'll have a lot less headaches.
Correct. Right. Same group across the plane.
Exactly. Cool. So that's all done. Yeah. I'll hit create, and we've got our fancy root cert that's there.
Awesome.
Cool. So let's go back to macOS, and we'll create that SCEP profile now.
Correct. So
again, we're going to go templates, SCEP certificate, create, SCEP.
macOS.
Oh yeah, sorry.
macOS.
Yes, being an intern is hard.
It is. It doesn't even get the tweets right.
And I spoke to you, and I'm like, it's so weird that it didn't auto complete the image. Anyway, whatever. Okay, SCEP certificate for macOS. We're happy. We're happy. All right, so exactly the same screen that we saw last time. This is you're definitely going to be bored of this by now if you're watching this for entertainment. And if you're watching this for entertainment, I'm sure
Please keep drinking beer while you're doing it.
I know I am. All right. Okay, so let's have a look here. So we're not changing any of the subject alts. We're not changing the certificate type or the format. Cert validity is for a year. Key usage, we're going to go digital signature and key encipherment. Key bit size is 2048.
Correct.
And the root certificate, and this is where what I was saying before. Like a lot of people, I've witnessed a lot of people try to create the SCEP cert first, and then they worry about the root certificate later. The process is important that you do the root cert first because you can't complete the SCEP certificate if you don't have this. And it's not pointing at the certificate, it's pointing at the policy. So if you think about how this is working, this is almost like a dependent application deployment where the SCEP cert is dependent on this being there. So when you deploy the SCEP certificate policy, it's going to go, has this been deployed? If it hasn't, it's going to deploy this first.
So it's actually looking for the thumbprint of that certificate to exist on the device.
Exactly.
So technically, you don't have to deploy the root certificate this way, but please do. It just makes your life easier.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So you it technically doesn't matter how that root cert gets there. You could manually install it if you wanted to, but why would you do that? The policy exists. All right, so I'm just going to go through and set up the EKU. So let's go through. We're going to do any purpose, client, and secure email, and then that last magical one, which is encrypting file system.
Correct.
Which I have saved here.
Because we are smart and we make sure that we have copy and paste for everything.
We are consummate professionals. We never do anything wrong. And when we do, it's on purpose. All right. So renewal threshold is fine. And then again, finally, that SCEP server URL, which never changes. So just grab it from a previous policy.
Exactly.
And I'm going to grab this and we're not going to.
So do you see the new one there? This is different.
It is different. So allow all apps to access private key. So explain what this is.
So this is where you could have a corporate application that needs to have that certificate there and needs to have access to the private key of the certificate. So this is where you can sit there and go, yep, I need that, so I'm going to enable that. So an example of that could be Outlook, if it needs to have access for secure emails.
That's interesting. And I mean, we do have that policy set there. So in theory, that's where you'd set that. So if you don't have that configured, does that mean that that no application outside of company portal has access to this cert?
No. Access to the private key.
Okay.
So two different scenarios. One is when you're sitting there and doing your authentication for Wi-Fi, you're not actually needing to have access to the private key. You're just sitting there and going, I have this certificate.
Is it there? Show me the thumbprint.
Yep. But when you're, say, securing an email,
you need that private key to actually encrypt. Yeah.
Correct.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, so I've not seen this before because I've never done this before. So there we go. It's almost the same, but just a little bit different. What's that phrase? Same, but different?
That's right. And it's just slightly different because macOS has extended capabilities, which is awesome.
Cool. All right, cool. So we'll leave that not configured for now.
Yeah, we don't need it for ours.
We don't need it. We'll skip the scope tags. Assignments, we'll do the same deal.
Choose the sec group SH.
And we'll click next and create.
Okay. And then, Ben, what we'll do, rather than syncing it on my Mac, because we all know how to do that, we're going to go and select the macOS at the top, and we're going to step back to the device and sync it from here.
Sure. macOS devices, there should only be one, Mac Mini.
Correct. That's me.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yep. And then we go back to overview, and we've got sync. So that's going to sync from here, send down the policy to my Mac. And while that's going through, what I'll do is I will share my screen to see the Mac OS. So just bear with me while I do all of that and make it so I can still see you. All right, so what we've got here is our Mac OS. Let me get that mouse out of the way. You'll see that it's gone through and started the sync. And we've got our last compliance check literally right now. So what I've already got here up is the keychain. To show that, all I've done is Alt Windows space and brought up keychain, and I'll bring up this keychain access. So if you don't have much experience with macOS, that's how you get access to it. Yep. And then you'll see here under your keychain access all of the different certificates that are available to the device and everything associated. So we have our local items where we can go and look at our certificates and my certificates. And right now there's nothing in there. It will come through eventually, I hope. And if we go in, and it's the same here. But under system roots, we should see, I believe,
that root cert. According to the portal, the root certificate has actually deployed.
Yep. So under one of these folders, and I always forget which one, so just bear with me. System certificates, and there's our Intune training CA.
Cool.
Awesome. And
that's the SCEP certificate there.
That's our SCEP certificate there. That's put it into the user store, into the computer store. So if we double click on that, what we should see here is email address of Stephen at Hosking. Stephen at Intune Training. It is issued by our Intune Training CA. If we go and look down here, we can see that it has our purpose, which is the email protection, encrypted file system, client authentication, and any extended key usage.
Awesome.
And everything we expect to see on there. So yeah, how quick was that?
Super easy. I'm just going to take the screen again, and I just want to show how quick the reporting has come through. Which the more I deal with this stuff, it's just getting faster and faster, and I absolutely love it. So I'm back in the macOS filtered devices. I just want to go into configuration profiles, have a look at that root cert. Go device status, we can see that succeeded. That is awesome.
Yep.
And then we'll go into SCEP, and straight away, as soon as you saw that, I saw this update. And again, this comes down to the fact that this data is live. So
yep.
It's crazy fast how the reporting is getting better and better. And I know that there is room for this to grow and improve.
And it will.
But I think this is proving that it is.
Yes.
So I think this is fantastic, and even this time last year or 2 years ago, this would take forever to really come up, because the first time it would sync, it would actually do the thing that it was doing, and then the next time it synced, it was when it would actually return that report data back. So this is fantastic, and I think it's only getting better.
Definitely, and if you hit that certificates space there down the bottom, yep. And if we select that certificate. And I think if you go all the way to the end, there should be, no, it's not there. No. I think it's on a different blade. You can actually go and revoke certificates as well.
Oh, sure.
No, it's not in this blade. It's we don't need to do it in this video.
That's okay. We can play around with that later. But yeah, look, Steve, this was fantastic. Hopefully everyone else got some value out of this. I know this is starting to sound a little repetitive, but the certificate process, once you've got that infrastructure set up, deploying these profiles is really easy. If anyone's got any questions about what we've done, if we've gone way too fast, feel free to leave a comment below. So we've got a couple more of these coming up. So a couple more nice, easy ones for you. And then I think we're going to try and get Nick back online, and we're going to go through the PKCS deployment stuff, which is very similar to the SCEP stuff, so equally as complex to configure. But once you've done it a couple of times, you should be able to do it fairly simply. So again, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one, where we will talk about Android devices.
Yes.
Cool.
Potentially Android Part 1.
We'll see.
Yes.
All right, Steve. I'll talk to you later.
See you then.